This channel does not promote or encourage any illegal activities. All contents provided by this channel is meant for educational purpose only.
Okay. For me, it's difficult to structure when I'm going to attempt to convey. I'll do my best because I said I would. When I was younger, much younger, of course, you know, a lot of youth have an experimental phase. And some of them experiment and then move on and go off into our world and follow a normal, productive life. Some people will stay within that realm forever, and there's a price to be paid for that in some ways. But I was never really drawn to downers or uppers or things like that. What interested me was I like psychedelics, and very young when I tried my first one was mescaline, which it's almost impossible to find now. But anyway, mescaline, low dose. It was a nice intro, and then from that, LSD. LSD, yes, but I didn't care for it, and I'll explain a little later. Then mushrooms, of course, I've done the heroic dose, 7 grams dried in silent darkness. Some people say, well, I've done much more. Well, that's fine, that's you, okay? But I follow a certain rule, a regiment that was outlined. Like I followed Terence McKenna, a botanist and psychonaut, and there's certain rules if you're gonna do it a certain way. But anyway, mostly geared towards nature's own kitchen and kind of staying with that. Say the heroic dose. I've done DMT. I've done DMT 4 times. 3 of it was smoking, and then 1 was ingesting. Well, you're gonna say you can't ingest DMT. Yes, you can. You can ingest it as long as you block your enzymes, and you do that with capsules of string rue seeds. You do that, it blocks your body, and then you ingest the bark in certain quantities. I'm not gonna say what the messages are, what I brought back from my experiences, because that's personal to me, and it wouldn't serve you. But the LSD, I didn't like it for one main reason. It lasted too long. 24 hours later, you're to the point you're almost exhausted, and you just want to be able to step out. But when you punch your ticket, you're in there for the ride. But like I said, I don't recommend. This is not recommended. I'm not recommending anybody do any kind of illegal drugs. This is only for conversation and educational purposes. But getting back to my post that triggered, or I should say led up to this discussion, things are related. And I didn't really realize this until later in life. What I mean by related, what things were related. Dreaming, psychedelic use, and remote viewing. And I've pondered this for a long time. When I talk in generalities. When you're dreaming and you're lucid dreaming and you wake up, most people, as you're up, you get up moving around, the dream slowly leaks away. It scurries away. It draws away from you. You might be able to retain a little bit of it, but most of it fades out. It's very similar to psychedelic use. For me, the whole thing was, you don't do this and go to a social event or a group of party. Do that. No. Silent darkness. You would like to go into this schedule event and ask it questions, but it doesn't work that way. It reveals what it wants to you, and if it's generous, it may throw you a bone here or there. The same thing with psychedelic. As you're coming back into this reality, it starts to slip away from you. And there's certain tricks in ways that you retain certain information that you collate for afterward. Remote viewing. And it was explained, Joe McNaughton. He gave me a description, because when you go into that realm, now he's much, my God, he's been doing it for 50 years, so, but he gave me certain tips and stuff, because when the images come, it doesn't give me, it doesn't say, okay, this is a ball, or this is a building, or it doesn't communicate to you in that way. It gives you vision or images of something other than what it actually is. So it's important to be able to draw. Unfortunately, I don't draw that well, but it almost tells you something different. Me anyway. Until I draw it out, and then I draw it out and compare it to whatever the actual target was, which I wasn't aware of. Third person, so it's a double blind. And then it's creepy. But you actually have to trust in it, which tells me as we're tapping into something beyond our day-to-day input. Anyway.